So that was a whole spring and early summer, half of the summer, getting this boat into shape. but it just makes me feel better. Get that centerboard out, reconditioned. Reconditioned the winch. That whole system is reconditioned, and I've got some instrumentation on board now, which is cool. Upcoming films, I'm going to show the installation of that. It's going to be thrilling. If you watched me install the Garmin, you know what you're in for. So you can skip that one. We did all that work, and the plan was to come out this weekend and enjoy the boat for the first time in like 20 months since she was in the water. And there's a tropical storm coming. So I'm just on Inconceivable, making sure she's secured to the pier, and just made sure everything was secure, because even though we're pretty well protected here from a hurricane, tropical storm. It's supposed to be 30 to 40 knots with gusts to 50, and that's enough for me to come out and add a couple of lines. And just make sure she's buttoned up. That being said, I'm gonna jump on my bike and head home before it gets too nasty.
Tonight, the entire East Coast on high alert.
Before the system races north along the coast, sustained winds now at 70 miles per hour.
Plans change. Hurricane Isaias packed quite a punch, and Inconceivable took one on the chin. I come out anytime there's inclement weather. I come out, make sure everything's secure, and add dock lines. Even if it's not predicted to be severe, you always plan for worse. And in this case, we did. I came out on Saturday and checked over the boat, made everything secure, and added dock lines. Unfortunately, not everybody does it. And in this case, our neighbor did not properly secure his boat. He says he did. Lesson learned for him and for me. This is a good lesson for anyone. If at any point you feel a boat near yours is not secured properly, it is well within your right to secure that boat, because a boat breaking loose of its mooring is very dangerous. Yeah, so Inconceivable's a little messed up. What you see on the hull, those aren't just scratches in the gel coat. Those are scratches into the fiberglass. His boat had one of those aftermarket cleats on his rail, and it got turned sideways, and the horn of that cleat just carved
hieroglyphics into the side of Inconceivable, into the fiberglass. It's 1 or 2 layers into the fiberglass. Luckily, this boat in 1971, this boat was designed in 65. Back then, they didn't really know much about fiberglass, so they overbuilt them. This boat has below the waterline 3/4 of an inch of solid fiberglass, no core. It's a tank. Above the waterline, it's a little thinner. It's like 5/8 to 1/2 inch. But even that 1/2 inch, you should see his boat. Ericsson 32. It's got production boat, so outboard flange. It's cheaper to manufacture. The gunnel on Inconceivable has smashed his hull to deck joint into shreds. It's got an 8-foot section where you can see into the cabin. I'm not bragging. The guy is a really nice guy. He didn't deserve this to happen to him. We certainly didn't deserve it, but I'm just saying this boat is solid. There's an episode of Free Range Sailing. If you haven't watched this channel, this is a must subscribe to channel for anyone that's into sailing channels. It's called Free Range Sailing. Troy and Pascal are sailing around Australia in a Klansman 30. I'd never heard of Klansman. It's an Australian-made boat, but it's very similar to this. Watch their channel. It's very similar to Inconceivable. Troy talks about why he picked that boat. He was watching them pluck boats off the rocks after a storm, and they're all going onto trailers and being hauled off to the scrap yard. A Klansman 30 got picked up and put into the water and sailed back to the slip. And he said, "That's the boat I want." So that's how I feel about Inconceivable. She's solid. This era of boat, they're very solid. And I love this boat. Lynn and I talked about it. We got different options. We could have just taken it as a loss. We're getting a check from the insurance company. We could just take that check and then find our quote-unquote dream boat. And we talked about it, and this kind of is our dream boat. It's not in the condition that we would want our dream, that we imagine our dream boat being in, but we'll make it into the boat that we want it to be. And it's going to take some work. The pictures I just showed you are not the whole story. I'm not going to even show the cabin because it just makes me sad. But all of the furniture on the starboard side is knocked off the hull. The cabin basically has to be completely rebuilt from the forward bulkhead, from the head bulkhead aft. The starboard side has to be rebuilt. We're going to take this as an opportunity to kind of redesign the boat. We never really felt comfortable in this cabin. The galley is awkward. The seating arrangement's weird. It doesn't have a table now. We could have added the table back. There was a table at one point, got taken off. But it's not the cabin layout we really want. This is our opportunity to make the boat what we want it to be. So that being said, I didn't plan on monetizing the channel. I had dreams, of course, of it becoming the next Sailing La Vagabond with 1.5 million subscribers and thousands of patrons. I obviously don't expect that's a pipe dream. But I am going to launch a Patreon page. I need help. Have I ever mentioned it? I'm in construction. I'm a carpenter, and I specialize in building recording studios. I'm a former recording engineer, and so when I got into construction, this company Sandhus I teamed up with, they build recording studios and do acoustic treatments in performance spaces, that sort of thing. Performance spaces are shut down. But basically all of entertainment is kind of on hold right now. So I haven't worked for 5 months. And while I'm not starving, I can't really afford to rebuild a boat right now. And we're going to do it ourselves, which is going to save a lot of money. But the check I'm getting from the insurance company is basically going to pay for storage in the yard when we pull her up. But we are determined this boat is not going to end up in a landfill. for many reasons. A, we love this boat. B, the boat you have is better than the boat you don't, obviously. C, the type. The C&C Corvette 31, they only made 168 of them. C&C went on to become a great American-made boat, one of the best American-made racer cruisers, and racers. This boat itself won a bunch of races when she first came out. Not this particular boat, this type. We love this type. Anyone who's ever sailed a Corvette remembers that they sailed a Corvette. It's so much fun. So, as you can tell, I'm enthusiastic about keeping this boat. We're going to keep this boat going. So I'm going to launch a Patreon page, and anything you can do to help, great. If you just want to watch the videos, great. I love making these videos, by the way. The shooting them, the editing, everything about it it's a creative outlet for me. Making the music, all the music on these videos I wrote and I performed it. I love it. I love the whole thing. So I'm going to get back into it. I know I've kind of, in the last couple of years, the videos haven't been coming out every week. They haven't been coming out every 6 months. But life happens. Some things happened, and we just weren't able to do the videos. But I'm determined. I'm gonna just start kicking out videos again. And if you can help, fantastic. I would love it. Please come on board and share the channel. Share it with anybody that you think would enjoy this kind of thing, the sailing. I'm going to keep sailing, not on this boat for the next year or so, but be at Sevago, sailing the little boats. Probably get a ride on somebody else's boat. Dan and Ingrid were they had that Hunter 27 that I went sailing with a couple of years ago. They bought a new boat. They have a 34-foot Pacific Seacraft. Talk about a dream boat. So they're up in Port Washington. They've offered to take us out. So maybe we'll get out on Dan and Ingrid's boat. That would be fun. So there'll be some sailing, but most of this is going to be working on the boat. I'll try to keep it interesting. We'll get Max in the videos because he's very photogenic, annoyingly so. Anyway, Inconceivable is going to go on, and we're going to keep the channel's going to keep going. That's it. Oh man. So this guy just came in. You have a boatload of pretty girls, but if your boat doesn't work, he just came back, just left, and then he came back with one engine, and as he's passing behind me, he's yanking on the throttle to put it into reverse. Finally, I hear a snap, it goes into reverse. That's a linkage problem. Somewhere his linkage is not, it's alignment or something's wrong. You shouldn't have to crank on it like that. It goes into reverse and slams it in reverse. The engine quits, and he's floating down the line. Joe over here on his boat, he jumps off the boat. As he's jumping, he's grabbing his boat stick and he's running down the dock to go. So now he's sitting in the slip pretending like he knows what's wrong, trying to impress all the pretty girls. Welcome to Brooklyn. Okay, enough is enough. I'm going to go over to a local yard and talk to them. We're still looking, we're not exactly sure where we're going to go. So I'm going to go over there and see what's up. Yeah. Anyway. Blah, 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 blah. That's enough. That's a nice shot.